If 2024 was symbolised by anything, it'd be the cost of living. Australians have been talking about it. You've been telling us the price of everything has been going up, and that includes new cars. And that's why the vehicles that are behind me now are so important to Australian new car buyers. These are our most affordable entrants in their various segments for the 2025 Drive Car of the Year Awards. Value for money is crucial to Australian new car buyers. Let's take a look at the contenders.
From homes to energy to eggs, it seems like everything in our world is becoming more expensive, which is why a look at the best affordable new cars is now more relevant than ever. For the 2025 Drive Car of the Year Awards, there are 6 categories that showcase brilliant vehicles packed full of capability and functionality that are all priced below $50,000. These cars span all key consumer categories, ensuring that all buyers on a budget have access to some of the best cars in Australia. Starting things rolling is the best urban car under $30,000, the Chery Tiggo 4 Pro. This compact SUV can be had for less than $24,000 drive away and is packed full of the key safety and convenience features that buyers are looking for, all backed by a generous 7-year warranty. Keeping the theme compact is the best small SUV under $50,000, the Hyundai Kona Hybrid. The little Kona is back for the 2nd year in a row, with drive judges continuing to praise its level of equipment, quality finish, and outright style in a hotly contested segment. The Honda Civic Hybrid is the 2025 best urban car under $50,000, with judges impressed by the car's sporty styling, high-quality interior, effortless and efficient hybrid driveline, and very affordable $200 per year service costs. The hybrid theme continues to the best medium SUV under $50,000, the Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. This is Australia's most popular new car segment, and the Tucson delivers well-integrated technology, a host of features, and again, effortless hybrid efficiency that can almost cut the weekly fuel bill by half. Another car back for the 2nd year is the best dual-cab ute under $50,000, the KGM SsangYong Musso. With a drive-away price that starts below $40,000, the twin-cab Musso delivers tremendous comfort, refinement, and value that, when paired with the ute's 3,500 kilo tow rating and one of the largest tubs in its class, makes the Musso a really underrated champion. Rounding out our affordable winners is a car that underscores our fast-changing automotive world. The best electric vehicle under $50,000 is the fully electric, sleek and stylish BYD Seal Dynamic. With over 450 kilometres of range, a stack of features and technology wrapped in the practicality of a roomy mid-size sedan, the Seal Dynamic doesn't just say affordable electric is coming, it says it's here right now.
Well, it's safe to say that the Drive Car of the Year judges are pretty happy that this vehicle has won its segment, because it means that Honda is back. This is the Honda Civic, its best urban vehicle under $50,000. And gee, there's a lot to like about this car. It looks good, it drives fantastically well, a lot of standard inclusions, affordable service package, interior ergonomics are up there with the best in any segment, it's fair to say. And the judges are ecstatic that Honda has once again delivered a Civic that makes a compelling case for Australian new car buyers. Best urban car under $50,000, 2025 Drive Car of the Year Awards, it's the new Honda Civic. You can't argue with the Honda buying proposition in 2025, and the fact that this Civic is actually a really impressive small car is just the cherry on top of an already enticing cake. This is really well put together. You get that signature Honda build quality, insulation, a premium feel inside the cabin, robust switches and controls that look like they are really high quality and built to last, and a general sense inside the cabin that you've spent a lot more money than you actually have. And I know that's true of a lot of the smaller, more affordable vehicles these days, but the Honda Civic is probably the best example of it. If you're on a budget and this fits within your budget, you're getting a very premium car for the money.
The Civic pairs a 2-litre petrol engine with 2-motor hybrid system, giving the Honda a combined 135 kilowatt and 315 Newton-metre output. The Civic reinforces Honda's reputation for delivering a sporty and engaging driver experience, and combines that with electric prioritised efficiency and a clever CVT that feels sharp and direct like a traditional automatic transmission. Bottom line, it's fun and frugal, a winner in every way.
Now, the BYD Seal kind of resets the bar for what you could expect for an electric vehicle. This sits in a category which is best electric vehicle under $50,000. And while it only just sneaks under $50,000, and while that might not be cheap as such for a lot of Australian new car buyers, what you get for the money is incredibly impressive. This is well specified, really, really high quality interior cabin ergonomics, good thing to drive as well. This is the BYD Seal, Drive Car of the Year 2025, best electric vehicle under $50,000. Now, the judges are acutely aware that for a lot of you watching this, $50,000 doesn't constitute what we would call affordable. However, it's worth saying that for an electric vehicle with this range and this level of standard equipment, the BYD Seal does fall into that category, because not that long ago, to get this much electric car would have cost $70,000, $80,000. It's a lot of car for the money, and it feels like your money has been well spent. The interior is quiet, insulated, quite premium, fit, finish, choice of materials. It's a really lovely place to be. Those of you looking for a feature-packed electric vehicle around the $50,000 mark should absolutely take a look at the BYD Seal. Well, we could just say what's not to like about the BYD Seal at this price point with a full stop on the end of it, because this is a really, really enjoyable electric vehicle to drive. A lot of electric vehicles, especially from some of the challenger brands, are way faster and more powerful than they need to be, maybe just to prove that a new brand can really keep up with the established collective when it comes to releasing a vehicle to market. But as we always say at Drive, and the judges unanimously agree on this, electric vehicles don't need to be stupidly fast just for the sake of it. Now, the BYD Seal is quick. It's rapid. It's faster than a regular vehicle of this type would be with a petrol or diesel engine, sure, but it's not ludicrously fast. And what BYD has done, I think, is probably made a smarter choice to actively focus on range. So this gets up to 460 kilometers driving range in this car, which is fantastic. The one we're in at the moment is 60% charged with 290 still left on the range claim here. So this is going to work for most Aussies. I mean, you drive this to work Monday to Friday and back, most average Australians, and only need to charge it once a week. So there's something to be said for that, especially if you want to charge it overnight at home in your own garage. You're not going to need to access public charging infrastructure at all if you do regular driving, or if you go on longer road trips, this will be able to do it without too much issue. SsangYong Musso. Now, this is a really interesting proposition in the dual cab segment, because this is a bit of an unsung hero. Now, this sneaks in at the time of testing just under the $50,000 mark, and what it does is it puts a lot of the really expensive dual cabs to shame. And that means if you want a dual cab but you're on a budget, you can still get a really well-equipped vehicle. Excellent diesel engine, smooth automatic gearbox. It's got room in the second row that's actually better than a lot of the established competition. And of course, a coil spring rear end. So if you spend most of your time driving around town like most dual cab owners do, this is going to be a particularly good option for you. You should take a look at it if you're on a budget. Best dual cab under $50,000 2025 Drive Car of the Year Awards, SsangYong Musso XLV. We know all about the ability of the SsangYong Musso XLV on-road and off-road, the engine and the driveline. We know about those things, but when you're buying on a budget, even if you're in the dual cab segment, which you could argue is focused more on capability and practicality, you still want to sit here in the driver's seat and feel like you've got really good value for money, because let's face it, the majority of your time, especially if you do any long distance touring and off-road driving, is spent here getting to where you're going. You take a seat here in the SsangYong and you think to yourself, I've got a dual cab that could have cost almost double what I spent on it. Huge infotainment screen, interactive driver display, heated and cooled seats, quality trim, quality insulation, fit and finish, a lot of room in the second row. And that's a premium feature as well that's a little bit hard to define. When you sit in a vehicle and you've got a really big glass house, lots of light coming in, you feel like you're in an expensive car because you're not squashed in with nowhere to move. This is really strong value for money, and nowhere is that more evident than here inside the cabin.
The 133 kilowatt 420 newton metre 2.2 litre diesel in the Musso is nicely refined and hints at the Utes base as an SUV rather than a working truck. The refinement continues to the Musso's comfortable and quiet cabin, as well as its suspension setup that suits big mile touring to a T. This is a Ute that feels like a car to drive and is so much better for it. Off-road hardware includes a low-range transfer case and an auto-locking rear differential, which gives the SsangYong plenty of rough terrain ability despite its limited ground clearance.
Now, best urban car is always a contentious segment, even more so when you put a $30,000 price cap on it, because of course Australians are of the opinion that you can't really get a cheap brand new car in this country anymore. But Chery, with the Tiggo 4 Pro, has said, hang on a second, we can sort you out. Now, the judging in this category comes down to splitting hairs with servicing costs, the smallest of standard inclusions, not just the starting price of the vehicle. But the Chery Tiggo 4 is loaded with everything you're going to need, works really well around town, is pretty comfortable too. Best urban car under $30,000, the Chery Tiggo 4 Pro. Now, in the past with affordable cars, you might be forgiven for jumping inside the cabin and feeling like you've missed out on a whole heap of standard equipment, because in the old days that was the only way for manufacturers to make their cars affordable. Strip standard features out. Even things like air conditioning or power steering may have been optional in the late 80s, early 90s. The Chery Tiggo 4 Pro has everything you could ever want. You've got touchscreen controls down here, haptic touch for your climate control, an infotainment system that works really well, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, touchscreen functionality there, interactive driver display, quality switchgear throughout, really good attention to detail, the trim, the stitching, the fit and finish, all of those things really well executed in this car, so that if you are on a budget, if you need to spend less than $30,000, you can buy the Chery Tiggo 4 and still feel that the experience of driving the car feels like you've spent a hell of a lot more than the purchase price. Even those of us who like to exist with the glass half full rather than the glass half empty have to admit that affordable cars, genuinely affordable cars for Aussie buyers on a budget, used to be a bit of a compromise. You used to get air conditioning and power steering and a radio that worked, but they were pretty basic cars. Now though, the fight for that buyer has gotten more and more competitive with every year that's passed, and now we land at the Chery Tiggo winning its segment for Drive Car of the Year. If you're buying a car, just because you're on a budget doesn't mean you should miss out on something that should be enjoyable to drive. And the Tiggo does a really good job of doing both of those things. It's incredible value for money, genuinely impressive, but it's also a good little car to drive. Quiet and refined engine, gearbox that behaves normally and as you'd expected it to, doesn't do anything weird or silly. Steering that, if anything, is maybe a little bit too light, but that makes a lot of sense around town. So where I personally would prefer a bit more heft to the steering, for you and for a lot of people buying in this segment, most in fact, you're going to love how light the steering is and how easy it is to maneuver around town when you're reverse parking, things like that. And then you get all of the flexibility that you get with an SUV of this size. You get space in the second row, space in the luggage area. It's got tech that works, it's easy to understand, and it's just a comfortable, enjoyable little SUV to drive. The fact that it's such good value for money is just an added string to its bow, but I think this is a genuinely impressive win in a very competitive segment for Chery. Now, small SUVs are not quite as popular in the new car market as medium SUVs, but it's fair to say that Australians love vehicles that sit in the segment that's been won by the Hyundai Kona. Now, this is best small SUV under $50,000, and this Kona here, which is right up near the top of the model range, can be had for less than $45,000. So it comes in fairly sharply under that cutoff point. What do we like about it? Well, the interior is beautifully designed, excellent execution of tech, infotainment that works, a hybrid drivetrain available across the range, and the styling. You can drive something that isn't boring, which I think is fantastic for Australian new car buyers. 2025 Drive Car of the Year Award, Best SUV under $50,000, the Hyundai Kona. Now, I think key with any manufacturer when they're making affordable, cost-effective cars is that you feel like you've got every feature that you need and really good value for money. That might sound obvious, but I think it's easy to overlook for those of you who might be shopping who aren't on such a tight budget. But if you are on a tighter budget and you buy a Hyundai Kona, you're going to sit here in the driver's seat and think, wow, I'm getting equipment and features that would indicate I've spent a hell of a lot more money than I actually have. The twin screens in front of you are enormous, interactive driver display, really responsive touch screen, and the control center, which is kind of in that second tier for things like the major controls for the infotainment, heating and ventilation, and then your steering wheel mounted controls are really, really easy to understand and feel quite premium. And then the fact that they've moved the shifter over here to the column means that they've cleared up this center console area, and that feels quite premium too, because you don't have controls and buttons and switches everywhere. It's actually quite neat. You even get heated and cooled seats in this car, really high quality trim, attention to detail. If you're on a tight budget and you buy a Hyundai Kona, you will absolutely love it.
Hyundai's 104 kilowatt, 265 newton metre petrol-electric hybrid powertrain in the Kona is an absolute gem, with claimed fuel consumption of just 3.9 litres per 100 kilometres, highly achievable in real-world conditions. It's fun and nimble around town, but still confident at highway speeds and on longer journeys. The suspension tune is geared for comfort, but still provides plenty of dynamic ability when the suburban streets make way for flowing country curves.
If you're talking about where the battleground is at for Australian new car buyers, outside of fleet sales and dual cabs, it's right here, medium SUVs. And this segment, best medium SUV under $50,000, is one of the tightest and most closely fought in the Australian new car market. The Hyundai Tucson is a fantastic proposition, not just for value, but for standard inclusions, a hybrid drivetrain across the range which is genuinely efficient, and we think the styling is fantastic as well. 2025 Drive Car of the Year award, best medium SUV under $50,000, the Hyundai Tucson. You're buying a medium SUV, and that is the battleground for Australian families. You want to feel like you've got value for money, and you are certainly going to get that if you buy a Hyundai Tucson. But look here inside the cabin, wireless charging, really, really neat arrangement of the controls, a lot of storage. If you don't want to charge your phone here, you whack it down there, it's out of the way. You've got USB-C inputs, premium screens, touchscreen infotainment, interactive driver display, neat control system here, more storage up there, another mobile phone shelf for passengers, really easy to use controls here on the steering wheel, and room right through both rows and into the luggage center. You've actually got a lot of space here, which is important because medium SUVs attract an awful lot of Australian family buyers, and it's absolutely something you cannot argue that the Hyundai Tucson delivers that in spades. Hyundai's Tucson has been a fantastic option in the medium SUV segment for a while now, but this new model with hybrid technology takes that up a notch. And it's worth noting that through the Tucson range, you can get any specification grade as a hybrid. And that's key because that really takes the fight up to Toyota. RAV4 has been heading the segment in terms of fuel efficiency for a long time now with the hybrid. And now you've got a viable option in the form of the Hyundai Tucson. It drives well. It's comfortable. It's very fuel efficient. You're going to get numbers in the low fives, if not high fours, depending on how you drive, which is fantastic. And it's got all of the other features that we love about the Hyundai product. Things like 5-year warranty, cap price servicing, all those kinds of things, in addition to being very smooth and very comfortable to drive.
You can find out everything you need to know about all the 2025 Drive Car of the Year winners on our Car of the Year hub at drive.com.au. If compact quality is something you're keen on, why not check out our Best Small Cars video right here.